What we're looking at here is the old Duncan Cemetery. These are some of the people that were buried here. There's Earl Butler. Here's Duncan Butler. There are more of the Butlers here. This is a Butler grave. This is a Butler. Over here is some of the graves I'm going to focus in on of Mr. Squash Duncan. We're coming up on that here soon. This is his grave. You can barely see the name on it. This is Squash Duncan's grave here. And all of these are graves of a lot of the old Duncan and Butler, Wilson from the early days of the Morgan settlement. This is Patsy Dietrich, Will Dietrich. There's some of the Wilsons here. This is Fowler, Napoleon Fowler. And this is the area. This plot is still being upkept by Mr. Pate Butler, who I'm here with today. This is Henry Lee Clark. And as I walk through here, this is Moselle Wilson, who just passed not too long ago. As you can see, it was 1980. And these are just a lot of brush here, a lot of stuff. This is Nicole Mason, the granddaughter of Walter Mason. This is Eskew Ransom back here, his grave site. As you can see, Eskew and Sophronia. This is Mr. Candyman Ransom's grave here, his site. Sam Ransom. This is Miss Myrtle B. Ransom. This is the mother of Sandra Ransom, Henrietta Ransom. And this is just some of the surrounding area here, the whole grave site with the stones all intact. Now I'm walking back toward the van where Mr. Pate Butler stands waiting for me. And this is all very historic to get. I'm really happy to be here to try to retain some of this for future generations to know about. This plot of land is still upkept, and this is one of the original plots of land from the Morgan settlement that is still intact. So I'm headed back to the van now. There's Mr. Pate there taking a drink of water. I think he got a little thirsty out here. That's him there. He brought me down here. I'm very happy he did that. And you can hear the locusts making their sounds here. These are all the surrounding areas here. And this is the old Duncan Cemetery that we're in here. All right. Now this is a road. Now this is a part that I definitely remember here. This is the house of the site where Miss Gertie, my cousin Gertie Duncan, lived. Her house set right back here, right under this big oak tree right here. This oak tree is still here. It's probably about 200 years old. It's still here. And this is the road here that we're coming in. We're headed to Ethel now. And right up here was where, beyond this road here, where George Scruggs had an old house that set back off in that bush there. And this road here goes on down to Mr. Jim Fitch's and all the way down to where my grandmother, Mildred Butler, used to live. Mildred and Isaiah Butler. This is where this road here goes. Now, here we are. This is where the house of St. Wilson lived here. And on Crossing, I grew up here as a kid. I played all out on this road, and my grandmother's house was right back over there. Well, I'm pointing the camera. Her house is sitting back up in here off the road. And all this. Now, this road here leads all the way down to where Mr. Candyman Ransom lived, and St. Wilson. This is where this goes. This is the house of St. Wilson. He was married to my cousin. She was a Duncan. I forget her name right now. But this is their yard. This is where they lived. We rode to town with Mr. Sank's old truck every Saturday to buy groceries on this very road right here. All right, to be continued. This is all historic. We are here again. This is this highway that is called Morgan Loop Road. Now this is down where, right over here was where Sonny Wilson's house was. Right over here, and right over there beyond those signs there was where Mr. Sonny Wilson and Miss Evergreen Minor lived. Right back up in there. My grandmother and I walked up here 5 miles from where St. Wilson's house was. The last stop that I made was right here, and this is this street here is Butler Lane. This is named after Mr. Pate Butler, who I'm riding with right now. And this is also known Highway 17, which shows right here, which goes on back around, loops around. All these are old roads here. Now, you talking about back in the bush, this is the bush country. Now, there's no street lights out here. Back in the days when my dad and all of them grew up down here, they rode horses and had mules, and it was something to get around. And you had to know where you were going, because it'd be pitch black dark out here at nighttime. Okay, I'm going to continue this in a minute. I'm going to get back in the van. We're going to head on 17 North. Here we are now, a little further down the road. This is New Hope Baptist Church, Missionary Baptist Church. And you can see here, it's all surrounded by farmland. Farmland everywhere. All around on both sides of farmland. Now, this is a very, very much so a historical landmark as well. And for this county. And as you can see here, this is rice and bean fields everywhere here. All this is farmland. There's the old oak tree. We used to park under that tree right here. Park under this tree all the time. This is a big shade tree. That oak tree there is probably about 200 years old too. It's been here for a while, if not older. And this is the actual sign here. It says New Hope. Now, further up the road here was my grandmother's old house off of Highway 17, Mildred and Isaiah Butler. This was the first place I remember coming to that they lived, back down in here. And that's an old rice pump over there, irrigation pumping rice. This is a New Hope Missionary Baptist Church, Bethel, Arkansas. All right? Pastor Forrest Phillips. Okay, we're going to go ahead and continue our journey. We're going to head further on up the road here. All right. Now we're here at the Butler Cemetery. This is another very, very historic place here in the black community here in Ethel, Arkansas. These are just some of the graves that are here. This one here is Phyllis London. A friend of mine over here is Donnie London. Is right over here. We'll go there in a moment. Darnell London. I think these were like little babies here that passed away. And this is just the surrounding area here. This is the Butler Cemetery. And this is the little road, and we came in through right here. And this is a good friend of mine here who's about my age. His name was Donnie Ray London. Donnie London, yeah. Good friend of mine. Known him for a long time. And here's Miss Evergreen Minor. Her grave is over here. I'm walking toward it right now, next to the tree here. She died in 1999. And this is a lady that my grandmother and I walked to her house many, many Sundays down here in Ethel, and this is a close-up shot of her picture on the grave. And this is her grave. And these are some other graves here. But this is all the Butler Cemetery here. That old oak tree there. And this is all the surrounding areas. There's some other graves over here, but I believe my ride is ready to go. He's pointed out now. So, but anyway, these are one more grave over here. They're Butlers. I want to get a good film of. And this is Emma Butler, Miles Butler. These are some of the early Butlers here. And this guy seems like he is Caucasian. And the gentleman here, Wilford Butler, and Miles Aspinall. Oh, I guess these are Butlers. That's what it says. Here's a Butler here that was an old Mason. Medora and C.C. Butler. This is my daddy's teacher. This is my daddy's school teacher here, C.C. Butler. There's a picture of him right there. He was also Masonic as well, as you can see on his grave here. And she was an Eastern Star. Alright, this is historic. And as you see, there's other graves here. Here's a Reverend Miles Butler. Now, it seems to me, from looking at some of these graves, that some of the Butlers were of white heritage, which that was very common. Miles Butler here I'm looking at. Died in 1942. This is Georgia Butler. Died in 1954. That was several years before I was even born. Now here's a Oliver Lee Butler. Most of these have pictures on them. Here's another one. Now this is the C.C. Butler Jr. So the guy's grave, this is my dad's teacher here, was C.C. Butler Jr. There's a shot of him right there. And this is his grave. He died in 1972. This is Oliver Butler. And all these are probably distant relatives. There's a picture of him on there. I didn't know him that well, but this is a shot of a picture of him. Oliver Butler. So, and this is pretty much the extent of here. There's a lot of other graves out here. This is Miss Laura Butler right here. And this is a picture of her and what she looked like. Okay, I'm going to have to go. But we shall continue this tour here of Ethel and Van, Arkansas. Okay, there's my ride coming around. I better go now. It's the second time he done circled. Now we're here at St. John Cemetery. And this looks like Miss Annie Pearl Thomason's grave here. And she just died in 2003. This is her grave site. And I don't know, this is Karen someone next to her here. Karen Cat Johnson. Grave, yeah. And yeah, this is the St. John. My mother is buried out here someplace. I'm going to try to find her grave site. And this graveyard here is also surrounded by big open fields, farmers, bean fields. I do believe my mother's grave is back over by these trees here someplace. And I'm going to try to find where it is. This is Agnes Jackson. Katie Jackson. I'm just going to walk on. I do remember her grave is on the back here someplace. I'm going to see if I can remember and go right to it. Also, my grandmother is also. Oh, this is Johnny Gaither. He's a good friend of mine too. Remember Johnny? Yeah. All these are just graves here. Now my mother's grave is where? Gotta figure out. I do believe she's over here somewhere. This is Jenkins. This is Sadie Jenkins. Jumper, this is one of your relatives here, Sadie Jenkins. Uh-huh. Lee Esther Oswald, London, 1937 grave here. Now this grave here, there's Harris's. This is my cousin Charles Joyner, buried right here. This is his grave. It also has his picture on it. Reverend Charles Joyner, just passed away in 2003. And this is his vault, sits on top of the ground. Now I'm going to walk on a little further. I'm still looking for my mother's grave. I know my grandmother Agnes Jimison's. I think they're over here by this little grove of trees here someplace. I just have to find exactly where. There's Miss Mattie Lee Walker's grave back there. I'm going to turn the camera off until I actually do find the grave. Grave of Agnes Jimison. This is my great-grandmother. That's a picture of her there. This is her gravesite. Now to find my mother's grave. She's out here someplace close in range. This is my auntie Addie Jimison's grave. And this is a picture of her here. That's Aunt Addie. This is my grandmother Ozella Duncan's sister. This is Miss Oni Battle. This is my cousin. This is the mother of Wilma Coins. Yep, this is a direct descendant of my grandmother here. Now this is my mother's mother, Mildred G. Butler. This is her grave, and right here is my mother's grave, Otella Williams. Otella Taylor Williams. This is Mama's grave I'm standing here on. God bless you. And her picture's supposed to be on here. We haven't got that done yet for some reason. But here we are. She was born September 26, 1934. And around here are just several other graves that are here in the area. And this is an awesome place. It's well kept. As you can see, all these grave places are well kept up by the people here in the community. And we believe it's time to go.